Welcome to Squatch-D where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D for today's date, February 12th, 2025. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's up, Chris?
Hey, man, it's good to see you. Dude, we had a lot of rain today. You guys been getting some snow?
No, today was actually quite nice.
Okay. Well, I think
other than being cold.
Well, yeah, that was the thing here that saved us. It's just above freezing, and it actually it's like in high 40s, lower 50s right now. But tonight and tomorrow, I think it's supposed to dip down to the below freezing. So if it's still raining, we could have some ice. That's not good. That's not good.
Well, we have ice as a just a course of nature up in New York. So I mean, I got ice all over the porch. I gotta get some rock salt. And you know what? Tomorrow I'm working a double.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
But that's my last. I'm not doing a double next week, so that's good news.
Yes, it is.
It's like, they're giving me a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather.
As long as the road's not too slick, you should be okay. You're a professional at that kind of thing.
Right.
I think they make you get in New York, they make you guys take your driver's test in a blizzard or something, right?
Right. And then we have the driving through a flood scenario, and then we have, the volcano scenario. They set off a live volcano, and we drive around it. And
I'm not completely immune to driving through snow and ice. I've done it all my life, basically, but it's not like it's a daily have to do thing around here. But when you go to the southern states, like somewhere deep in Texas, where they're not used to having any kind of ice at all.
Oh,
they
good
have an ice storm. Wow. I mean,
they get a quarter inch of snow, and oh my God, it's a national emergency.
Well, back in 2000, when I was doing the trucking deal, I was driving through where was it? I think it was in Dallas, Fort Worth, and they got some ice on the road, and nothing major. Okay, everybody just driving slow. And I saw cars pass me 65, 70 miles an hour. And sure enough, a quarter mile down the road, they're over in the ditch. It never fails.
Well, it's very interesting. Like I said, oh yeah, we got 8 inches the other day of snow. And like, oh my God, you okay? I'm like, we're professionals. That's nothing.
Well, it stays though. In New York, it stays. All the northern places. I drove to Maine, and there was like 6 feet of snowbank on the side of the road. And I asked one guy, I said, "Oh my God, did you guys get all this?" Oh no, that just stays like that until the spring. It keeps every time it snows, it builds up and builds up. It don't melt off until the spring. And I was like, wow, bless your heart, man. I feel sorry for you.
And for those coming in late tonight, you got to check out the intro. We've tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed there was some animation there. The Bigfoot's walking around now. Usually stand there and look at you, but now he's walking around.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we have a little fun with that. So let's do our roll call for tonight as people are starting to file in. Quite a bunch of people in here. So Roy Longley in first tonight. One of our members lurking while on the road. Y'all have a good show. Thank you, sir.
We appreciate Roy, and we appreciate all our lurkers.
Walter Kroll is in the house. Sandra Piper, the Susie Monster. How are you, Susie? Good to see you. Jeff D. Smith. What's up, Jeff D. Karen Fisher, how are you?
Yeah, welcome.
The Tackle Tactician is in as well. Good to see you, Jeff. We did say Jeff D. Smith is in as well. Yep. Pine Island. Hey, Jeff from Pine Island Research is in the house. Good to see you. Chris Hilton, aka Faster Man. How are you, sir?
Hello, man.
Boris Khan, of course, is in as
Boris.
well. Gorny Goo Goo, and that's
Whoa, that's great. Well, we got 20 some odd people in here hanging out with us on Wednesday night. Thanks, guys.
for a show that's scheduled a little bit on the later side.
Yeah.
And that's because I work on Wednesdays, and I don't. Sometimes I come home, I want to eat, and then after I eat, I just want to chill for a little bit, and then I get up and I do my thing.
Well, sometimes we get to do one, and sometimes we don't. So I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah. And if anybody doesn't mind, I am enjoying a little of some of Kentucky's finest tonight.
Yeah, that for YouTube purposes, that's iced tea.
That's right. So anyway, tonight's show, we want to talk about a new discovery. And actually, Jen, who's not here, actually sent this to me. And I said, wow, this is like a good little episode for a Wednesday night. We usually either break down a video, or we do a little, Wednesdays and Fridays, we usually break down stuff. But before we get into that, I want to, and Sharon is in the house too. Hello, Sharon. I want to tease some folks right now, because this is what's on the board. So March 1st, of course, I talked about scientific examination, Bigfoot, a scientific examination, a 400-page book, 49 scientific written articles in the book, over 275 sources in the bibliography to write this book. The next up is the Squatch Detective's Guide to Bigfoot Investigations. That's coming out March 15th. And that is from A to Z, almost, how to conduct a Bigfoot research. The appendices have a lot of tools in there, some forms that a Bigfoot researcher might need, like a shared discovery agreement, or a non-disclosure agreement, or, a consent to videotape and stuff like that.
Right.
And there's a lot of other information in that as well. And then finally, we are working, and we are about 1/3 of the way through of What Would Sasquatch Do, Volume 2. And that'll be coming out probably by the summer, if not before. It's moving along better than I thought.
And you're going to make that available in hardcover as well?
Everything from going forward is going to be involved in hardcover. Matter of fact, my last two books, The Psychology of Bigfoot and the Sasquatch Playbook, are now available in hardcovers. The Sasquatch Playbook, the actual manuscript inside the book, has been updated to include an index, as does the Psychology of Bigfoot.
Right.
And on the Sasquatch Playbook, the cover has been updated too. I didn't like that cover, but as technology has come forward to give me availability to do more things, we're damn well using them.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you're able to put those in a hardcover, hardback book form, because they seem to last on the shelf better in libraries than a paperback.
Well, I'll tell you what, I do have a hardcover book of Bigfoot, a scientific examination, and it is, beautifully bound, bound.
Yeah, good.
And the thing is that the first two books are not going to have many pictures in them. This is a lot of, as you can say, a lot of academic reading.
Yeah.
Stuff. Hey, and we have a new one in there, Jeep fishing. Nope, we're not talking about the Homo naledi.
Jeep fishing. Two of my favorite things, Jeeps and fishing.
Well, welcome, Jeep fishing. So,
P-E-E-P. Okay, I got that. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So anyway, let's talk about this. And this, again, was from an article in Science Alert website. And it's an article written by Carly Casella. And it actually was written in December. But of course, we're just getting around to it now.
I think we did touch on the new species being discovered a little bit back.
We mentioned it. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
But as far as we went, because we didn't have enough information on it. And let's see, we're getting a message in on the nut line tonight, and nope. Potential for ice Thursday morning. Yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah. I'll probably get the same thing here. Yeah.
Hello, Samsung. I'm in New York. We have ice all the friggin' time, even in the summer.
I have my remote with me, Steve, and beginning in about 15 minutes or less, I'm going to turn your light off.
Oh, should I have a little fun? Oh, hello. Oh, hang on. It's Bigfoot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, no. My name isn't Igor. I'm sorry.
I'm out.
My name isn't Igor. If you're in Young Frankenstein. Okay.
No, it's. I don't know. I don't think he's that gullible. Surely not.
There's Jen.
Hey, Jen.
She came in after we gave her credit, so we have to do it again. As I mentioned, thanks to Jen who pointed this article out to me. We can talk a little bit about this, which I appreciate that much. People send me articles and stuff all the time, and if I can make a show out of it, damn it, I will.
They got a pretty good one in Popular Mechanics too.
So here it is. Large head people, mysterious new form of ancient human emerges. A provocative new piece in Nature, it's a magazine, has proposed a whole new group of ancient humans, cousins of the Denisovans and Neanderthals, once lived alongside Homo sapiens in Eastern Asia more than 100,000 years ago. The brains of these extinct humans, who probably hunted horses in small groups, were much bigger than any other hominin of their time, including our own species. Their brains were bigger. Paleoanthropologist, okay, here we go, Zhu Wu from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and anthropologist Christopher Bai from the University of Hawaii have called this new group the Juluren, meaning large head people. In the past, some scientists have attributed Juluren, Homo juliensis, or Juluensis fossils to Denisovans. And according to this, it has a pronunciation for Denisovans as
Denisovans.
Who were a group of ancient humans related to the Neanderthals that once lived alongside and even mated with modern humans in parts of Asia. But Wu and Bei, wow, it sounds that. I feel like I'm doing anime all of a sudden.
Wu
and Bei have taken a closer look, and they say features of some fossils found in China cannot easily be assigned to modern humans, Neanderthals, Denisovans or Denisovans, or Homo erectus, the hominins that came before our own species. Their mosaic of traits hint at a mix of ancestry between various hominin groups, all living in the same regions of Asia between 300,000 and 50,000 years ago. Now, I want to, it blows my mind that how long has this Earth been here? 3 million years. Right?
Well, supposedly around 4.5, 4.6 billion.
Right. I really don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, we've only been around, or our closest ancestors only been around for about 300,000 years.
Yeah.
Just a fragment. You realize the dinosaurs were around for millions of years.
Yeah. We are a drop in the ocean compared to the history of Earth, right?
I mean, it's just, when you think about it, it's kind of mind-blowing. It's kind of like the size of the universe. It's like, it's just beyond our own comprehension. Our little primate minds. Woo-hoo, the little one doesn't get it.
And it's nice to know that these guys are kind of like, they believe in intermarriage or shouldn't say that, but interspecies relationships, because they were a mixture of all kinds of these early creatures.
Well, as my friends over the pond would say, horny little buggers, aren't they?
I wouldn't put it that way, but that's accurate. Oh, rascals.
They're mostly okay. Yes, collectively, these fossils represent a new form of large brain of a large brained hominid.
Yeah.
Concluded Wu and Bay in the Journal of Paleoanthropology earlier this year. And here's a quote from Bay saying, "Although we started this project several years ago, we did not expect being able to propose a new hominin species and then be able to organize hominin fossils from Asia into different groups." Anthropologist John Hawkes, who was not involved in the research, called Bay and Wu's recent commentary provocative. And in his blog earlier this year, he reviewed their study and agreed that while evidence of the Juluren is limited, the human record in Asia is more expansive than most specialists have been assuming.
Well, the big brain part, I just kind of, I wonder if they had such a big brain, it seemed like they would have been a dominant species there.
Right.
I guess depending on what they were doing with it, I guess if they could devise ways to get dates better than others, I guess. Whatever you want to call it.
Oh, you mean the big head's thinking for the little head?
thinking how to get more women, hey, check out that gal over there. Well, she's a Neanderthal. I don't care. Let's go hit her up. Maybe get that.
Hang on. A few of these, and I don't care if it's a Neanderthal or a Denisovan or maybe.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't want to deal with that one. She calls herself a Denisovan. I want to deal with her. She calls herself a Denisovan. I wonder if they had political parties, the Denisovans and the Denisovans.
I don't know. But yeah, it kind of makes you wonder, if they had a brain larger than ours, why aren't they still around?
Well, maybe they weren't that horny after all.
Oh gosh, what was that movie that Mike Judge did where all
procreation?
The dumb people,
I don't know.
The dumb people outbred the smart people. What was that movie? I can't remember it. Anyway, maybe that's what it was. But it is interesting, and the fossil finds.
You know why? You know why they probably didn't live? They were too busy thinking, and the Homo sapiens were too busy clubbing the shit out of them. That's probably what happened.
Probably.
Sorry, we're having a little fun tonight. Wednesday nights are fun nights.
Yeah.
So until very recently, all hominin fossils found in China that did not match Homo erectus or Homo sapiens were lumped together. Compared to hominin fossils in Africa and Europe, the human fossil record in Eastern Asia is poorly differentiated and described. Calling all these groups by the same name makes sense only as a contrast to recent humans, not as a description of their population across space and time, writes Hawkes on his blog. I see the name Juluren not as a replacement for Denisovan, but as a way of referring to a particular group of fossils and their possible place in the network of ancient groups. So, and let's I got a picture of the fossils here. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like a bunch of crap to me.
I see part of a jawbone there, a tooth, some cranium bones. Weird, but the guys that are like really, the PhD types, that are trained in this kind of thing could look at one of those and say, "Oh yeah, that's a posterior cranium bone there. There's
Posterior cranium.
bone. Yeah, that came from right up here. Yeah, okay. You say so, bud."
Well, it's like my friend Raimundo. He called into work one day, said he had anal glaucoma. Yeah, he couldn't see his ass coming into work. Anyway,
I knew it was going to be something like that.
anyway,
But well, we shouldn't really complain because the lack of human fossils is pretty scary, really. I mean, we probably have more fossils of every other creature on Earth than we do of humans.
Tackle tacticians looks like a bunch of kidney stones.
Yeah. That's a good one. I can identify,
I
I
gotta tell you, years ago, when I was a paramedic, I remember I was in a scramble and I grabbed a box of M&Ms, right? And I put them in my pocket. Now, it was a box, not a bag. So every time I'd walk, you'd hear all the M&Ms rattling. So I walked into the ER, and the nurse looked at me and says, "What the hell is that noise?" I go, "Oh, it's my kidney stones."
Sound like a bag of rocks jingling together, huh? Oh God.
Anyway, in the last 2 decades alone, you okay, Chris?
Yeah.
I know that one catches up to you after a while. Not quite as bad as walking out of the bathroom with a specimen cup filled with apple juice. Me going, "It's sweet. I think the person's a diabetic."
Oh God.
I've done that too.
Master Man says, "Not all cavemen were dumb. How about those that went to work doing Geico commercials? They seem pretty smart to me." I think so too. Yeah.
Although their TV show flopped pretty badly.
Pretty intelligent guy there.
Okay. Can we go on to the next paragraph here, please?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna try.
Ooh.
It seems like the last few paragraphs we get a lot of mileage out of interesting comedic value alone. All right, here we go. Okay, in the last 2 decades alone, the human family tree has gone from a carefully pruned bonsai to a bushy, tangled mess, and trying to tease apart and name all the various branches is proving quite the challenge. That is quite the friggin' metaphor. Anyway, every few years, it seems, new lineages pop up, weaving in and out with other branches of life before inexplicably coming to an end. In 2003, scientists discovered Homo floresiensis, the smallest known species of human who lived at least 100,000 years ago on an island in Indonesia. In 2017, archaeologists discovered, part of it I haven't seen it, Homo luzonensis, a completely new hominid species from 67,000 years ago in the Philippines. In 2010, DNA analysis revealed the existence of ancient Denisovans is now Russia near the border of Kazakhstan and Mongolia.
Yeah.
In 2018, paleoanthropologists were given a fossil from northeastern China that turned out to be an extinct species of archaic human, possibly related to the Denisovans. Only in 2021 did scientists formally designate the species as Homo longi.
Yeah.
Now Wu and Bei want to introduce Homo juliensis to the revolution, or Juluensis. Homo juluensis. The various fossils belong to Homo juliensis come from the face and jaw, and they apparently show classic Neanderthal-like dental characteristics, but some traits are not seen in other known hominids, including the Denisovans. it is becoming increasingly clear that in Eastern Asia, hominin fossils, a greater degree of morphological variation is present than originally assumed or anticipated. Right, Wu and Bay. Now, this is where it becomes interesting for the Bigfoot mystery, folks. And I'm holding on to that sheet, and I'll explain why. Because amidst all our little cackling and our 6th grade humor, we do have third grade humor in some cases. We do have some very philosophical points to make. In 2023, for instance, scientists found hominin fossil in Hualongdong. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not looking at the article, man. I got a different one up. They don't mention it.
Okay, so it is a 12-letter name. 12 letters for this. And the last 8 say Long Dong. I kid you not.
Yeah, that's probably one of the Vietnamese finds. One of the finds they did in Vietnam, I would say. Wollongong. Wollongong.
So I'm trying to pronounce that as I'm looking. All I see is Long Dong.
Very difficult. Looks like the cat been walking on
tonight. Tonight is like the R-rated show for whatever reason. Well, in China, unlike any other human fossil on record, it's not Denisovan or Neanderthal, nor does not fit neatly into Homo juliensis or Homo longi. Wu and Bay say this is a good example of the intricacy of human evolutionary record. If anything, they write, the Eastern Asian record is prompting us to recognize just how complex human evolution is more generally and really forcing us to revise and rethink our interpretations of various evolutionary models to better match the growing fossil record. So let's think about this.
I don't know, I think the tackle tactician, I think what they mainly defined the new species because there's a difference in the cranium, it was larger, and also apparently there's a difference in the jawbone structure and the teeth.
Correct.
So I'm not sure
that they share similar trait, like their teeth and their jawbones share traits with the Neanderthal, but they have other features that are similar to Denisovan. So they're completely, and then they have traits that are, unique to their own. But what they're saying here, and this is really what makes it interesting for our mystery.
Tim Vogel has arrived. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Timothy. What makes this important is the following. We have all these variations going on in Southeast Asia. Where likely it was a Bigfoot migrating from to inhabit the United States was from the very same area.
Right.
So if we have this diversity amongst the homos, the Homo genus, let me clarify that.
Thank you for adding that second.
Well, this is a scientific discussion, and we don't want to be edited by YouTube. But if there's such a diversity amongst, the Homo genus, could there be a diversity amongst the Ardipithecines, which were the Australopithecines?
Yeah.
I believe Gigantopithecus blackie was an Arthropithecine.
I don't know.
Yes, he's an Arthropithecine. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. It was an Australopithecine. But before I go on, let me ask a question. Let me find the answer to that.
Well, if you got a new species that's showing qualities of two other existing species, contemporary species at the time, that is a really, really good argument that there was some interbreeding going on. And if there was interbreeding going on between these two or three species, could there have been interbreeding going on between Gigantopithecus and another hominid? Hmm. That's something to consider. Are the Bigfoot that roam the woods today a result of a interbreeding
Okay.
adventure between Gigantopithecus and something else? Something like you know, Astropithecus, I think it was. What's the one?
So the here's the okay. So now I know. Ardipithecines were early hominins that were from Africa, roughly 4 to 5 million years ago. The Gigantopithecus was a giant ape genus from Asia that lived 2 million to 300,000 years ago. It's not in a direct line to the humans, but more closely aligned with the ancestors of orangutans.
Right.
Now, that leads me to a whole nother speculation here. How many times do we see a Bigfoot and people say it's reddish brown?
Yes.
I think it's more often than it is seen as black.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a common descriptive color. Yes, reddish brown.
And the long hair.
Yeah.
You look at gorillas and chimpanzees; they're not quite as long haired as the orangs.
Yes, I was Australopithecus is what I was trying to say earlier.
Yes, or the Australopithecines. Yes,
that's a mouthful.
Yeah, I'm getting used to saying the Ardipithecines, which are from Africa now. I just say my stuff. So yeah, so
big.
So my point being is that we have all this diversity going on in Asia.
Right.
And Asia is really has some really strange, bizarre animals that are rare.
Mm-hmm.
The giant panda. Right. How about the red panda? Mm. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's other, but there's the particular monkeys that are in the frozen thing and they get into the steaming hot, spa waters.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The snow monkeys. Yeah.
So there is a distinct, as an investigator, I look for coincidences. Mm. And when I see this kind of diversity, and different. Thank you, Walter.
Oh wow, Walter, so kind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Walter.
When I see that diversity, and I see, where a Bigfoot likely comes from,
right?
It makes all the sense in the world. I know there's a big, strong reach on perhaps Bigfoot, maybe a Paranthropus, but where did the Paranthropus boci come from? It did not come from Asia. It was over on the African side. Now, is it possible that, like Homo sapiens, because Homo sapiens too did not come from Asia, they came from Africa and they migrated.
Right.
So I don't know. We have this really, Pandora's box of similarities. Did the Bigfoot in its early ages migrate here? But where did it come from down the line, and how did it get to where it got?
And with all the interbreeding that went on too, I've always thought that Gigantopithecus would be the closest relative to a living Bigfoot. But could we have a mixture of a Gigantopithecus and something else?
Well, that's the problem there is
Right.
that not all breeds of species, not all species can procreate, intermingle, and
Yes.
procreate.
Right.
Right. I mean, you can't take a giraffe and mate it with an okapi, even though they're related.
Right.
It'd be kind of a hard kind of mating process too, But but that's my point.
Well, the thing is, though, we don't know. We don't know what would be compatible and what wouldn't. And so, if you have different types of species that are intermingling,
But
some of them are going to be compatible.
but if you did, just think about that for a second. Usually their offspring are sterile.
Yes.
Right. So what does that do for propagation of the species? It would be non-existent.
Right.
So that's why the whole hybridization and the Ketchum study makes no sense, because that doesn't normally work, and to propagate a larger species in an actual working, functional, a growing population or a living population of a species, you need more than just two. Right,
But,
because then you deal with genetic mutations because of inbreeding.
But if they're close enough, like Neanderthal, Homo erectus, and they can interbreed,
Right.
that would.
But that was okay. But if you think about it, maybe it's all, maybe the missing link is just a mishmash of all of us.
Right.
Maybe we just had that amongst the Homo genus. We could interbreed with one another, and that's why they're getting so confused, because we can't figure out how we got to our point in life here. But is it possible that it's just a mixture of all the previous?
Right. And also, depending on your philosophy that you choose to believe personally, this could be part of a greater plan, that some species were meant to be a compatible and others are not.
Or, as we like to say, intelligent design.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all within that realm. Man, this is, I mean, when you think about it, this is some deep stuff. Deep stuff.
Yeah.
And for a guy who has spent 7 hours working on What Would Sasquatch Do Volume 2, talking about the known primates.
Right.
Oy vey. I got so much. That's why I had to think. I completely lost the whole Artipithecine stuff, because sometimes the filing cabinets get overflowing, and you're just like, oh, I got, I can't think straight right now, because I've been concentrating on this one particular topic.
Well, it is definitely a brain teaser to think about all this stuff. Over the last 15 years, scientists with these new discoveries have rewritten everything we ever thought we knew about the human genome and our, the fossil record. It's just been completely, some of the stuff they believed has been thrown out the window.
Well, I mean, look at these dates: 2007.
Yes.
Homo luzonensis. 2010, the Denisovans. 2018 is the Homo longi. Yeah. Let's not forget, over on the other side of the world, the Homo naledi were discovered.
Right.
So it is definitely who who lived near Homo habilis and who coexisted as well with Homo sapiens, which were everywhere at one point.
I think there's an Indian saying that says, "May you live in exciting times," and we certainly are living in exciting times right now. There's been more discoveries, over the past decade or so than any other time in our history. It's been amazing.
Well, if you think about it, now that we have sequenced the human genome,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And I'm going to comment on Nick's post
Yeah.
there. That's why a lot of us now. I haven't had my DNA done yet. I'm going to have it done, but I'd be curious to see, and I likely do not have, because my folks were from European nature, so I'm probably pure Homo sapien.
Mhm.
But there are people that or maybe I'm no, excuse me, I'm not. I wouldn't be. I would I might have the possibility of having Homo erectus in me, or
Neanderthal,
right,
probably. Yeah.
or Neanderthal. But you look at that, and there are people that have Denisovan in them, people
Mhm.
that have, and then if you break that down, if we know, if we go ahead forward and we start breaking down like the Homo longi genome,
Right.
uh, we might discover years down the road that people have specific people that live in a particular island in Asia have Homo longi DNA,
Right.
right?
Right. Well, yeah,
So,
we are Homo sapiens. Okay, we have our own species, but really, if the truth be known, since Homo erectus came along, the human form has not changed that much. You could shave one of those guys and put him in a suit, and you would not know him from a modern man. From Homo erectus to Homo sapien. So,
until you shake his hand and he breaks 17 bones in your hand.
oh, but Mick says, Steve, you hit the nail on the head. I posed the question to Dr. Haskell Hart, and he agreed that it's possible humans interbred with another member or members of our species, which could explain it. And I think that's a great comment, Mick. Yeah, I believe so too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's proven because
Yes.
of the people
Yes.
that have the Neanderthal blood in that DNA in
Yes.
them, or the Denisovan DNA. So that's proven that
Yeah.
Homo sapiens were. But could they interbreed with? Maybe, just maybe. Damn, that Homo naledi is pretty friggin' ugly. Neanderthal over there, not too bad, right? Hey, hang on a second. Let me get a few more of these in me. Maybe the Homo naledi will look okay. I don't know.
At that time, it could have been a survival thing.
Right. Right.
I mean, at one point in our history, in human history, we got down to just a very few pairs of humans left due to extinction things that
But
did come along.
Mick says human-like DNA in Sasquatch. But
Mhm.
if you think about it, there's human-like DNA in Pan troglodyte, aka the
Yeah,
chimpanzee.
everything. Yeah, but
I mean, 98.6% is our DNA.
yeah, but we're not compatible though. Yeah.
Well, I
Even
don't
though
know. Has it been tried?
there's a lot of yes, it's been tried.
Has it?
The Russian experiment. Yeah, they couldn't try to do the chimpanzees and the humans.
Right.
It didn't work.
Well, that would make sense because the pair, and the reason why that makes sense is very simple for the fact, and this is why the Ketchum idea doesn't make sense. If you look at a Bigfoot, it looks more of a Australopithecine than it does
More
a
probably.
Homo genus,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right. So if you think about it, the reason why we couldn't, even though we're really close, we're like kind of branched off. Chimpanzees went that way, we went this way, right?
Right.
But the fact is we are part of the Homo genus. Pan troglodytes are part of the Australopithecines,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's why they're not, and I'm sure we could not mate with Paranthropus boci or the other Pithecines, obviously, because they were a lot more primitive.
You never know, Tack. You have your DNA run. You never know who you're going to find out you're related to. It's interesting. We
But
talk about that stuff, but I'm not going to. Steve. But I recommend it, especially.
Yeah, have you ever seen the Schoharie County family tree?
Mm.
One branch.
Yeah. Well,
You know, I looked up my family tree. I found 2 dogs using it.
As they perfect the DNA stuff, though, it's getting better. And you know, whereas before with that what was it, 23andMe, you know, they could tell you, you know, oh well, you know, you probably came from this area of Asia, and, you know, you're most likely related to so and so, whatever. And you know, that was pretty decent. But now, you know, they can really specify, you know, with I guess they got a lot more names and a lot more records now. Like they can get it really detailed, like you came from a certain part of Africa from the Nalini tribe or something.
Yeah, let me pop this comment Mick made. And the difference is, Steve, that we frequently hear results of alleged Sasquatch samples turn out to be human DNA.
Yeah.
And I would ask Mick this question: why do you think that is? Well, I'll give Mick a chance to answer that question.
Yeah. You know, that's the most common thing that they use to kick out the samples is they say, well, it's been contaminated with human DNA. Well, wait a minute.
Well, no. What I'm saying is if you're only getting a DNA that says it turns out it's human DNA, well, the people that are uneducated, the people that do not know the science of DNA, the people that do not know about, you know, paleoanthropology, the people that don't know about evolutionary history and genetics, the uneducated people will say, oh, you see, I told you Bigfoot is human, right? But we know it's not.
Right.
Right.
Like chimpanzees. We know they're not human, even though they have like 97.
And the thing is, and the reason behind that, it's very simple. Look at their physical characteristics. Look at the the one thing we have for sure is the foot structure, the morphology of their feet. And their feet are much different than that of a Homo sapien.
Yeah.
So therefore, if a Homo sapien DNA is collected from a sample, it cannot be from that Sasquatch. Because they would have a different DNA than a Homo sapien because of that foot structure. Understand that we have an arch, we have we do not have midfoot flexibility, and we have inline toes. The difference between a Sasquatch and us is they have inline toes. That's the only similarity their feet have, is they have inline toes. Why? Because they're bipedal. That makes sense. But they have midfoot flexibility. They have a mid-tarsus. Therefore, they cannot have the same DNA as we do because it takes different DNA to create that particular physical feature on a body.
Yeah. They won't have the exact same DNA structure as we do, but they could have a high percentage of similar human DNA.
Right.
But just that little percent difference that makes up the 100 determines the difference between a chimpanzee and Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
That little bitty difference. But that's one of the things about the unknown samples that are collected and analyzed. When the scientists say, well, we can't identify it, but it looks like it's mostly human DNA. Well, they're identifying the human DNA structures that they know of, and the rest of it, they're kicking it out because they're saying, well, it must be contaminated because we don't have anything like this that matches on file. And even though, you know, you could give them and Mick's got a point here. If you give them a sample of chimpanzee DNA, they could run that and say, okay, we have a match. This is chimpanzee DNA. If they didn't have a match, they would say, well, we can't match this up. We don't know what it is, but it looks like it's like 98 or more % human. So what we probably have here is a contamination factor. No. No, you have that 98, 99, whatever it is percent human DNA, and that little bit that makes up the rest of the 100% determines that's a chimpanzee. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Bigfoot. It's going to be mostly the DNA will mostly be matching human DNA up into a point, and you're going to have a little percentage, probably less than 3 or 4%, that determines their structure. You know what makes how to build a Bigfoot is in that last 3 or 4%.
Well, if you look at all the great apes, the belly apes, the bonobos, the chimpanzees, the
Right,
orangutans, the gorillas, and the mountain
right,
gorillas,
right.
right? If you look at all 6 of those, most of their DNA matches ours because we
Right.
are the great apes.
Yes. Yeah, we've got 2 arms, 2 legs. You know, we've got a head. You know,
Forward facing eyes, binocular vision,
right,
articulate hands and feet, large brains.
right.
Um,
Similar build instructions, just like for you know, 2 different model cars. You have
right.
4 wheels. You know, you might have 4 doors.
Don't. What has 4 wheels and flies? Chris, you know that one, right?
No, no, no. What you what?
You know what has 4 wheels and flies?
Oh God. Yes. Wait a minute. Where's it at? Okay, I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
It's
Go
a
ahead.
garbage truck.
Okay. Yeah. 3rd grade. Yes.
No, 2nd grade for crying out loud.
I couldn't pull it up. It's there though. 4 wheels and flies. It's like what's red and green and goes 100 miles an hour?
Frog in a blender.
Frog in a blender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Black and white and red all over. Sunburnt zebra. Yeah.
or a skunk with diaper rash.
That would work. That would work. Let's see. Mick says, to paraphrase the late great Bill Miller, chickens are bipedal, but they don't have 5 toes.
Yeah, but chickens are not they're not even mammals.
Yeah.
They don't count. They don't count.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of bipedal. I mean, there's a lot of actually all the birds are just about bipedal, aren't they?
Turkeys are bipedal.
Penguins are bipedal. They don't even fly.
Yeah. But
Which now there's a screwed up animal too. We always talk about the platypus. What about a penguin? I'm a bird, but I can't fly. I can go like this. I got wings, but they don't do nothing. So I got to swim and use them.
I don't know though. I mean, you know, you're talking about weirdness scale there, though. The platypus is still at the top of the weirdness scale.
Yeah, that is freaking weird.
We're talking, what is it? A duck beaver?
A mammal that lays eggs. Can you figure that one
Yeah,
out? It's got a duck bill.
That's strange.
It is like a cross of a bird and almost like a you know what? It's almost like a cross between a velociraptor and a friggin' beaver. If you think about it, because birds are related to the dinosaurs. They're like because of the wishbone in it.
Yeah.
Is very similar to what the dinosaurs had. That's how they kind of started matching them up.
Yeah.
And
and later they would find that dinosaurs, some had feathers.
Yeah.
Some of the dinosaurs had feathers. So that's yeah. You know, the dinosaurs may still be alive today. They just walking around with feathers.
and then after the dinosaurs, there was the age of the giant mammals. You know, and it's amazing, the giant mammals, a rat the size of a friggin' rhinoceros. You know, when I forget the names of them. I mean, we always get focused on the dinosaurs, but you know, I'm talking about the age of the saber-toothed tiger, the mastodon, the mammoth, there was a giant sloth.
Yeah, North America, we had the giant sloth, and that's amazing. They've found some of those tracks out in White Sands, New Mexico. You know, on the same level that they're finding these human tracks or humanoid tracks. Okay, we can't say for sure those are humans, but they're finding some really really weird stuff, and a lot of those stuff. If you know, if you hadn't read on this, look it up. It's the the tracks at White Sands, New Mexico, and they're finding tracks there thousands of years before man was known to be on this continent. Now that's kind of strange.
Yeah. And then to find out that there was actually a creature that was like a cross between a bear and a wolf. And I thought that was friggin' fascinating.
Oh, was that the short faced bear?
No, it had it had a head
Had a
almost
snout?
wolf-like, yeah, with a
Okay.
snout. And I forget the name of it. I was kind of half asleep. My wife was watching. I'm on the couch, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I do know. I'm not familiar with that one, but I do know the short faced bear was a bad dude, and he probably munched out on a lot of our ancestors. Bad dudes.
But well, we're just almost out of time here, Chris. Believe it or not.
Well, that went quick.
It sure did.
I
Well,
enjoyed it.
we had fun.
Learning.
You know, the first half of the show we had fun, but at the 28-minute mark, we kind of turned it a little more serious.
Yeah, I enjoy learning stuff on these.
But that's the whole point is you can learn, and as boring and as sometimes this stuff may seem, we can make it exciting if we think about the possibilities. What I love about this is the possibilities it has for the existence of Sasquatch. Like, there are so many variations of the Homo genus going on in Asia. You know, let's not forget that's where they discovered the Gigantopithecus blackie.
Yeah.
That's where the orang pendek is
Right.
in that area. There is just so many possibilities because if there's any area besides the Amazon,
Yeah.
the jungles of Southeast Asia
Mhm.
are not meticulously scoured, or China for that matter.
Right.
There are areas in there that may have been affected by war time and time, over time. But
Mhm.
as I'm writing What Would Sasquatch Do, Volume 2, primates tend to avoid conflict,
Mhm.
believe it or not. So if there are apex predators nearby, they will tend to avoid them and move. So
Yes.
they could have gone very well undetected, all those movements into Vietnam, Laos, uh,
Mhm.
you know. So
Well,
you never know.
with the Gigantopithecus blackie, a lot of the fossils are found
Now,
in China,
yeah, I know
Vietnam.
Tackle Tactician says Russia is another remote area. The only
Yeah.
problem with that is in a lot of Russia, you have very extreme temperatures,
Yeah.
or you have extreme desert, like Kazakhstan. There was a reason why the Soviet Union, tested and experimented with atomic bombs in Kazakhstan. Why their rocket launching platforms was in Kazakhstan, because it's nothing but desert. There's nothing there but rock and dirt. It's not even a desert.
Oh Lord.
Um, it looks like there should be a sign up there. Need clean fill? Just call 1-800 Kazakhstan.
Grasshopper, I don't think Ray made those. Ray Wallace made those tracks down there in New Mexico. Those are
Well,
pretty cool.
who made the tracks in 20? Who made those tracks that were found last Wednesday? Ray Wallace's ghost. Anyway, Chris, take us out here.
Oh man. Well, this has been fun, and thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Wednesday night. We appreciate it. We're always honored to have you. And I did see a few new names in there. I think are fairly new. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. If you hadn't smashed that like button, a thumbs up, hit the thumbs up on the way out if you hadn't already. We appreciate you guys, and we're tickled to death that you would hang out with us. And I always say it because I always mean it. We know and we appreciate. We know the fact we've got the greatest audience we could ever hope to have, and it's just a thrill to be here with you. thank you once again for joining us. And any of you guys out there listening on the podcast, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@squatchdtv. Check out for the latest videos, and you can see the pictures that we're posting about this show and all the nice chunks of bones we've got listed up here.
But again, the bones are still up there, aren't they?
The bones are still up there.
Forgot they were up there.
But yeah, again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Sorry, the host who's doubling as the show engineer was kind of like at that point. He was so enraptured by the data that we were reading off that article.
Well, I was still, I was trying to put those cranium bones together there. I got about half a skull, I think.
So, just so everybody knows, anybody wants to ask a question or submit an article or something like that, they can reach out to me on Facebook or at my email address at admin@squatchdetective.com, or they can fill out a contact form at squatchdetective.com as well. Again, I appreciate everybody here. We love you guys. You are the best audience. You guys rock. And furthermore, like I said, you got any questions about the phenomenon, submit some questions. We'll read them on the air. And what the heck, we'll do a question and answer some night. You want to submit a question, we'll read them off on the air and talk about them. So anyway, on behalf of me, Chris, and everybody else, I am going to be your personal Bigfoot researcher. How about that? So any questions, give me a shout. So anyway, on behalf of Chris and me, I want everybody to have a happy and safe, healthy next couple of days. We will see you Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here for Squatch-D Friday nights live. We'll see you all 9 p.m. Eastern right here on youtube.com/@SquatchDTV. Peace.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member, and it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.